This Toyota Save Mart 350 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and it is time to return to sunny California for the Toyota Save Mart 350 at the beautiful Sonoma Raceway in about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes for me on a very trafficy day. But unfortunately, Cody, I will not be able to attend this year's race like I really wanted to. Found out that I'm going to be at a military school over the course of the weekend.
I feel your pain there, Rod. Of course, I missed out on Kansas this spring. Iowa's next weekend, and I was hoping to go to that. Also going to be missing out on that. So, hey, that's how life just comes at you that way, and we have other obligations, unfortunately. But luckily for us, even though the Army has you in school, you'll still be here for the shows this weekend. And in the near future here. So we got picks to make, left and right turns. Again, kind of throwing another wrench in the schedule as it continues to turn. When we get to Xfinity, right? It's going to be back-to-back road course weekends for them, but not so much in the Cup Series. We had COTA earlier this season, but this track raced a lot different and will be a lot different. So, it kind of continues as far as throwing all sorts of different shapes and sizes at us, and I love it.
Not to mention Sonoma repaved. So we're going to have, I don't know if it's going to be different, but there's a lot of talk about this repaving. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a lot faster. So, I mean, I heard like maybe a couple seconds a lap quicker on the repave. So that'll be interesting. And then generally tires don't wear as much, which tires didn't wear a ton at Sonoma anyways. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it kind of shakes out.
I know I should know this, but it has been already a long week, and I can't remember. We are doing stage breaks again, right? For Sonoma?
Yes. Yeah, we're back to normal, full-on stage, full course cautions, and all that fun stuff. No 63-second pit requirement or anything like that this weekend, though.
Oh, my God. That was something else for the Xfinity Series, man. And speaking of the Xfinity Series, yes, they will be on the same track as the Cup guys. Trucks are off for the next couple of weeks, actually. So it'll be Xfinity, it'll be Cup. Like you said, back-to-back road courses after Xfinity comes back from Portland, but the first road course in a while. And, I mean, look, honestly, we think we have road course ringers in this, but, I mean, anymore, we're starting to see that there's not really anybody that'll run away with this thing anymore.
Yeah, it's, well, since you bring it up, Rod, we'll hit the entry list real quick.
Oh, hold on. I was going to get there.
Okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there. I know.
We do have a piece of news we have to address, too.
Perfect. Then let's do that. But let's first tell you about the NBA Finals tip-off this week We're giving away $100 cash and a $100 gift card to the listener who wins our NBA Final Prop contest. So head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA Finals to enter. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA Finals. And make sure you go support Moonoff over there. He's a great, fantastic wealth of knowledge for NBA and winning you guys a lot of money. And make sure to get in that contest as well. All right, Cody, what's the news, buddy? What?
Dallas or Boston, Rod? Who are you pulling for?
Do either one of them race a race car? Cause
okay. Back to NASCAR.
I hate basketball.
That's why I asked you. Because I know you hate basketball. Well, the biggest story of the NASCAR season, Rod, has come to a close. Will Kyle Larson get a waiver? Will Kyle Larson not get a waiver? He is getting the waiver. NASCAR granted the waiver this morning. The correct decision to make. Look, the reason that this waiver system is in place, and you could argue all day and all night about whether you like waivers, whether we should have waivers, what they should be for. But the reason for the waivers, Rod, is so SVG doesn't show up at Chicago and win the race and lock himself into the playoffs. And then it's a mad scramble of, and also the other reason is so Kyle Larson doesn't win the Daytona 500. That's actually funny because we know he sucks at super speedways. And then just, I'll take the rest of the year off until the playoffs and go fuck around and come back, right? This was it's for injuries or suspensions, which you can argue that's probably the worst thing you probably shouldn't give it for, and extenuating circumstances. This was extenuating circumstances, and Elton Sawyer mentioned on Sirius XM, look, they made every effort to be there. He was going to finish the second half of the race had they gotten it in. And so they, gave their best effort to be there. You can't just say, fuck it, I'm not going to race this weekend. I'm going to go run the track at Knoxville and not show up to NASCAR race, right? That's not the same thing. They had very intensive plans to make sure he was going to be there on time. Mother Nature obviously threw in the wrench. They still worked around it, showed up to be there. So Kyle Larson does get the waiver granted, which then once again makes him playoff eligible, of course. And so his playoff points have all been returned. Denny Hamlin currently has 18 playoff points. Kyle Larson is second with 17 playoff points for that picture. And he is, once again, Rod, locked into the playoffs now with multiple wins and a waiver in hand.
Could you imagine if they didn't give him one? How much of an absolute, oh my God.
Well, and then if they didn't give it to him, he goes on to win the owner's championship, right, in the 5-car. And Denny Hamlin wins the championship. And then it's Denny Hamlin finally gets a championship, but it's a big asterisk because Kyle Larson should have won it. And NASCAR would have never left it down. So
how fitting would that have been, though? Because Denny and Kyle have been on the track fighting for so long. I couldn't even imagine this big asterisk by it because of Kyle Larson. That would be, that podcast would be fine.
I mean, yeah. And this was the right decision. It should not have been a thing. They made their best efforts. He was there. He had the helmet on. He was on the box. He was ready to go. So I think this was a good call by NASCAR. So, finally that's over. We don't have to keep questioning it. And we could put all that behind us. Kyle Larson will be eligible and in the playoffs.
Thank God that is over. Ben, just in time for Sonoma, one of the tracks that he's been pretty good at. We are set for 110 laps around this 1.990 mile road course for 218.900 beautiful miles in the Sonoma Hills. Just a gorgeous track altogether. I loved being at it the last couple of seasons that I was. And like I said, I'm very disappointed I can't get back there again. But, man, what a gorgeous, gorgeous racetrack it is.
Yeah, absolutely. This track was good to us last season, Rod. Of course, we hit Martin Truex Jr. What did we get? I think we got him 35-1 on the pod, 30-1, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful day. Unfortunately, the books have wised up and made him the favorite this week. But that's okay. We still found some stuff. To hit the entry list real quick, Rod, 38 entries. So you have your normal 36 plus 2 open cars. Kaz Grall is back in the 15. AJ Allmendinger back in the 16. Then you have an open car for RCR. Bringing over Supercars Point Series leader, Will Brown. So he's going to be piloting the 33 car for Richard Childress. One of his spotters, by the way, will be SVG. And then the Project 60 or whatever, I don't know what they're calling. I don't remember what they call the RFK one. But Cam Waters coming over. He is also a Supercars guy, pretty high up in the points there. He's the Ford version of SVG, basically. So he'll be in that additional RFK Racing entry in the number 60. We did not put either of these guys on our card. I think that they'll be fine. I think this isn't going to be an SVG thing. I know I said that at Chicago last year too, Rod, but it's not a street course. It's not going to be that type of thing. So, and they're like, even their top 10 numbers aren't great. Like they're barely 2-1, if that. I think Will Brown, or I think
hang
Cam
tight.
isn't either.
I'm talking about.
Are you talking about one of them?
Yeah, one of
Oh,
them.
you are talking about one of them. Okay.
One of them.
I can't read. That's okay.
Yeah. That's all right. I can't listen and I can't talk. So we're a perfect pair right now. Guys, if you notice that I'm struggling a little bit this week, I don't know what it is. Man.
Rod's losing it already.
I almost feel like it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I'm going to have to figure it out because this is my livelihood. I can't not talk. So if you bear through and you bear with me this weekend, this will be a lot of fun to see when my voice actually returns. Andrew checking in saying this is a hard week to handicap with the repave. And that's the thing too. I don't know that it's hard to handicap with the repave because we don't know what we don't know.
I mean, I don't really know how to figure the repave part into it. I think I'm just going to lean on Sonoma more. And that's actually notable. Like in road courses, we generally lean on other road courses. At Sonoma, though, you have to lean harder into what they've done on Sonoma, more specifically road courses in a general picture and sense of course. But Sonoma's kind of its own beast. That's why we hit Truex at such a big number last year, because he's not that great on all the rest of them anymore. But Sonoma's been his playground, as Phyllis says. And then King checking in. It's our week, boys. Ty Gibbs is about the same odds as Kyle Larson this week, Rod, which
crazy
makes it hard to bet on him, although you did find a way. So shout out to you. But yeah, he's got a good chance, and we'll be talking about him tomorrow in the Xfinity show as well.
Yeah, again, that's a guy that we're going to be talking about quite a bit this weekend. I think so. All right, well then, man, I feel like we just need to get to it. I'm excited to get to these bets because I'm excited to get to Sonoma. Not excited to not be there, but excited to get there. So, all right, we'll set up some bets, but first, let's tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live for the NBA Finals. You can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win that entry. Holy cow, what a deal. With more picks to make extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. As if there's not already a best part, even the better part is that you can win up to 325x your original amount. Underdog just throwing out money. You can use specials and boosts on all flexed entries as well. Can't wait to make that pick 8. Definitely going to be picking something on Martin Truex Jr. this week when we definitely pick his higher than or lower than. And you should not miss out on your chance to try it out before it is gone. Right now, sign up with our promo code RACE SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code RACE SGPN. All right, Cody, it's time to get to the bets, buddy. What do we got first?
Well, Rod, first up for me, I found a couple of head-to-heads that I really like. So I'm going to go over to Superbook for both of these. Kyle Larson over Christopher Bell is the first one. Plus 105 on the Kyle Larson side of things. And I'm also going to take Chris Buescher over AJ Allmendinger, betting against AJ Allmendinger on a road course, Rod. How dare me? But I'm doing it anyways. Minus 110. Let's start with the Larson and Bell one. So Christopher Bell has been pretty good on road courses in general, right? Second place at Coda most recently. Third place at Watkins Glen. One cardboard gate at the Roval, but not been so good at Sonoma. And again, this is kind of that where I'm weighing Sonoma a lot more than the overall road course stats. So 9th place last season, not a bad finish, Rod, but 27th and 24th in his other couple of starts here for Christopher Bell. When you go back to Kyle Larson, 8th place last season, still beats Christopher Bell there. 15th the season before, but he led 26 laps. That was the day where he had a pits penalty, and then a tire fell off, and he still rebounded for 15th, still beat Christopher Bell. And then you go back to the season before that, wins the race, leading 57 laps in dominating fashion. Kyle Larson has been good on well, actually, he's been up and down on road courses lately, Rod. As I was looking back, I was like, boy, things just haven't quite been as good for him lately as they had been in the past. But at Sonoma, he's been extremely good. He's been extremely fast every time. Should have won the Xfinity race last year. Oh, he was like +2, might have been like +150. I had a ton of money on him. Dominates the whole fucking thing. And then Eric Almirola upsets everyone and wins on a late race, kind of chaos stuff or whatever. But so Kyle Larson, plus money too. That's the thing that gets me here, Rod. You're getting a plus money over Christopher Bell. I know Bell had a great showing last week, right? He almost wins the race, and he wins the Coke 600. He was in the battle for the All-Star race, like maybe the only guy who could have beat Joey Logano before finishing like last in that one. So he does have some momentum coming into this one, but I think Sonoma, not necessarily his place. So fading him there. All right, over to the Buescher and Allmendinger one, Rod. 7 times these guys have been in the same race together. How many times in 7 tries do you think AJ Allmendinger has beat Chris Buescher at Sonoma? And let me remind you, Rod, this is AJ Allmendinger, the road course ringer, 11 Xfinity Series wins, 2 Cup Series wins, all-time great road course racer. 7 times he and Chris Buescher have been matched up at Sonoma. How many times do you think AJ Allmendinger has beat Chris Buescher, Rod?
The gut tells me to go with 0, but I'm going to
0 would be the correct answer. Oh, for 7.
Woo.
AJ Allmendinger is on beating Chris Buescher. Now the name, you're like, it's fucking AJ Allmendinger, right? This is not, as Go Fast Troy says right here, not an AJ track. It is not. This is the one where he really, really struggles. So if you go back over the last 3 races here, which would have been, 21, 22, and 23, because they didn't race here in 2020, so then you're going back to 19. So I think the last 3 is a really good sample size for this one. Predates the next-gen car, of course, but again, at a track like this, you can do that because of the course and how it kind of plays out. So the last 3 here, only Chase Elliott has a better average finish than Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's average finish is 7.3, 4th and 2nd in the last 2 seasons here in the next-gen car, and arguably had a better car than Suarez when he finished 2nd here 2 seasons ago, but so hard to pass there, and that's a thing. AJ Allmendinger, his average finish is 12.5. Now, that's not horrible, but a lot worse than 7.3 for Chris Buescher. Last season, AJ did get 6th place, so not a bad run by him by any means. I still think he'll have a solid day, but the season before that, 19th place. Now, they did have a power steering issue that year, and he really, no power steering on a road course. It's not easy. But, Rod, you look back at the other times he's been here. So 6th and 19th for the last 2, 38th, 35th. Oh, a great 14th, 37th, 37th. It has not been a good place for AJ Allmendinger. 7 for 7, Chris Buescher over AJ Allmendinger. So give me Chris Buescher over AJ Allmendinger at -110 and Kyle Larson over Christopher Bell +105 to kick the card off.
If you're going to swing at me 7 times in a row and hit me 7 times in a row, I'm ducking that 8th one. However, I got something to say about AJ later on in the show, so I'll save all my AJ talk for later. My first bet, I'm going Gibbs, and I'm going to continue your fade Bell in this instance, right? So I'm going Gibbs over Bell at -110. You already laid out everything about Bell. Yeah, he had a great 9th place finish last season. That was fantastic. But he did start 4th, and I don't know. I feel that was an outlier rather than a trend, because the first 2 before that, 24th and 27th for Christopher Bell. You turn to Gibbs. Gibbs has only had 1 time around this track as a Cup Series driver. He started 6th and finished 18th. I know that doesn't scream that he's going to finish better than Christopher Bell, but let me tell you about the Christopher Bell road course driver in the Xfinity Series. 17 road course starts in the Xfinity Series, 4 wins, 8 top 5s, 10 top 10s. Ty Gibbs is a good road course driver. It does not matter what specific type of car he is in, because he could just get around them and then some. So again, you saw what he did earlier in the season too, when it came to COTA. He was one of the cars that was running well. He ended up finishing 3rd in that race, right? So a top 3 for Gibbs. it's going to be that type of a day for Gibbs, even on this track. He figured it out, right? He figured out how to be good on road courses as part of the Xfinity, as part of the Cup Series, rather. So if he's got this thing figured out, and not only that, Cody, but he's got things figured out right now anyways. 2nd at Darlington, 6th at Charlotte, 11th at Gateway. I mean, that's some pretty good momentum for the 54 car. And you're bringing that into a style of racing in which he's comfortable, in which he's been successful earlier this season. Yeah, there's no way that I think that Christopher Bell is going to be able to get the best of Tyrone Gibbs. And at -110, I mean, this isn't juice to the point where you're going to want to stay away from it. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a good, solid top 5 day for Ty Gibbs, but I'm not really ready to pull the trigger on a top 5 because it just feels like the top 5 could be occupied by some really, really heavy hitters, and he could be left out in like 6th place and not cash the top 5.
This could easily be a Ty Gibbs win week. Honestly, it's hard to find good ways to bet on him for position places because his numbers are just kind of, they're so far up there that it does make it tough. But King checking in says Rod knows, he agrees with you. Also, the chat's blowing up. Love it. JB checking in. Show me the way to the money. Go fast, Troy. Late night pod. What up, fools?
What's up? Go fast.
King saying AJ's been surprisingly mid on road courses recently. You go back to last week in Xfinity, and I mean, had to go a lot over things, but yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe he's losing something, Rod. Who knows? I don't know if I go that far, but I do know Sonoma is not his place.
No, definitely not. Even my brother piling in on AJ right now, saying he's not on AJ this week. You guys. Well, I will tell you my thoughts on AJ in a little bit, but let me first tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, you got to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its prediction with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA model so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Claim your free 7-day trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We are also brought to you by NYRA. Bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with NYRA Bets. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Belmont Stakes at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Need an extra boost? Bet the Penn Mile with a bonus. Earn $10, win or lose when you bet at least $100 on Penn National on Friday. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. That's not all. Get $10, win or lose when you opt in and bet at least $100 on Monmouth Park on Saturday. On Sunday, it's your chance to win big at Monmouth Park. Grab a share of $2,500 when you hit at least 2 trifectas. Just opt in at nyrabets.com and get ready to cash in on the excitement. The winning streak continues. Score another $20, win or lose, when you bet at least $100 on Asinoyoba Downs on Monday. And remember to get your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus for the Belmont Stakes. Go to nyrabet.com/SGPN25.
You really nailed that last one, Rod. Congratulations.
Please do not ask me to say that again. That is a one and done for me. I don't even know. I'm not a horse race bettor. You guys know this. So
I won't ask you until tomorrow on the next show, Rod. But Myron checking in, also pointing out last race for Fox this season. I know the NASCAR and Fox haters are happy. Yes, everything will be shifting to the NBC coverage starting next week. Of course, that booth is going to look a lot different. No Dale Jr. this season for NBC. And then I believe Rick Allen is starting this season, but Lee Diffie, of course, the IndyCar guy, is going to finish it as the play-by-play. So a lot of moving parts over there. King, also the numbers for Ty are going to turn a lot of people away from betting on him. Man, those people are going to might regret it. Ty's going to have a shot. I do agree with you there. Troy says if Truex didn't win here last year, would he really be plus 600? Thinks his odds would be way longer. I mean, I think we saw from last season, right, because he was 35-1 when we hit him last year, that, his numbers probably wouldn't have been that good. But if you look at Martin Truex Jr.'s history here, a lot of fucking number ones in that column, Rod.
Yeah, we will too. We'll look at that for sure.
We will. All right, next up for me, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott, top 5 plus 155. But Rod, Chase Elliott in the next gen, he was the king of road courses. We gave him the crown. We gave him the throne. We gave him the scepter. He was the king of road courses prior to next gen era. 7 wins on road courses, but he hasn't won any in the next gen era. But he's actually been pretty good at getting inside the top 10, inside the top 5. So in 11 next gen road course races, 7 times he's been inside the top 10. 5 of those have been inside the top 5. And then to my point earlier, Rod, of being really good at Sonoma, guess who's really good at Sonoma? Chase Elliott is. So you go back to last season, 5th place. Well, that'll cash your plus 155 top 5 right there. The season before that, Rod, he also led 7 laps last year for the record. The season before that, 2022, an 8th place finish, but huge asterisk mark there. I talked about how Kyle Larson had the issue on pit road. Chase Elliott also had a pit penalty that sent him to the back. He led 26 laps that day, fought all the way back to 8th place. But again, being so hard to pass, no late cautions, wasn't quite able to get all the way back up there. The season before that, Rod, 2021, 2nd place. He led 13 laps that day. The season prior to that, he did finish 37th, or well, that would be 2019 because, of course, there was not a 2020 race here. Finished 37th, but he had an engine issue. He did lead 30 laps early in the race there. Before that, 4th place, 8th place, 21st in his first appearance here, but very, very solid record at Sonoma for Chase Elliott. And 7 top 10s in 11 races. I will call him consistent, JDK, because that's pretty consistent, in my opinion. And on top of that, very good here, which is what I'm leaning for even more when it comes to Sonoma. So give me Chase Elliott plus 155 for a top 5 finish. I think that he, again, might be tough for him to win because it's not been able to get it done, although I think he is going to have a shot at that. I think he's going to be at the top 5 at the end of the day at plus 155. I like that.
Well, I remember a couple of seasons ago, we were fighting whether or not Elliott or Larson was going to get the win, and they were fighting over whether or not they were going to get the win. So it's not far-fetched to think that Elliott could do well here again. And really, the fact that that JGR came out of the box so great last year at Sonoma was kind of that wasn't a surprise, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we thought that this was going to be another Hendrick Motorsports show. So yeah, honestly, I think Elliott's a good shot to get back at it, just like Larson's a good shot to get back at it. Brian Twiney saying Elliott at 10-1 at Circa. Woo. Because
I've seen him like I think 9-1 most places, but yeah, if you got Circa 10-1, that's definitely worth looking at. Didn't make either of our outright cards, Rod, but highly considered him. I needed to get away in on him, and I felt a lot more comfortable with the top 5, but wouldn't be surprised to see Elliott in victory lane this week either. We know his road course prowess, and he's been good at Sonoma. It's a winning combination.
Yep, I concur. Speaking of good at Sonoma, somebody that is hard to predict, however, is pretty damn good at Sonoma, and that's one Joey Logano. At least in 2 of the last 3 seasons, Joey Logano has been good at Sonoma. In that 2022 season, he did not do very well. He started 9th and finished 17th. However, he actually led 4 laps in that race. I remember that because I was there. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't there in 2022. I was there in 2023 and 2021. So maybe he didn't do good because I wasn't there. But I do remember interviewing him.
Rod's like the Giants. He only goes in odd years.
Yeah, and so even year Joey Logano, are you ready for him? 2021 was an odd year, though, so I can't. And 2020. So maybe this is off. I don't know. All I know is that in 2 of the last 3 seasons, Joey Logano's finished inside the top 5 even, and once inside of the top 3. So here's the thing. This is where I'm going to get a little crafty. Caesars has both Joey Logano and Will Brown, one of those supercar guys, to both finish inside of the top 10 at plus 650. Now, when you look at Will Brown's top 10 number by himself, I'm sorry, I closed that tab, but it's like plus 220 or something to that effect. It's really not a good number for Will Brown to finish inside.
Yeah, I mean, plus 140 even on Caesars, so they don't always have the best top 10 numbers, but
yeah. So here's the thing.
Great.
Yeah, and then Joey Logano is also not somebody that you really want to bet a top 10 on either by himself. So what you're doing to yourself, Joey Logano plus 190. So what you're kind of doing is you're taking a plus 650 for Will Brown to get a top 10, because I'm really thinking Joey Logano is going to get back inside of the top 10. His average finish here, obviously, is 8th place. I just told you it was 4th, 17th, 3rd since 2021. His average finish, 8th place in that. Road courses in general, not really as good, 14.7 since February of 2021, but 11th at Coda earlier this season, has a spot outside of the top 10, so I can give him the benefit of the doubt there. 5th at the Charlotte Roval in 2023, 10th at Watkins Glen, 34th at the Indy Road Course. That was a rough outing. Third in Sonoma. And then you got to go back a couple races for a 3rd at Watkins Glen, 6th at Indy Road Course. I'm telling you, I think Joey Logano is going to get inside of the top 10. As for Will Brown, obviously that's the wild card, right? We know that these supercar guys can come in and do well. Looking at you, SVG, you come in and you win your first Chicago street race. I know, Cody, it's not going to be like that. I know he's not going to come in, dominate this race, and win everything. But I will say that this season in or at least in the 2021 season in supercars, he did very, very well for himself. A number of top 10 finishes in this, 3 podium finishes in his 30 starts. But if you go back to the last 7 races, 6 of those 7 were all top 10 finishes. 7 of 9 were top 10 finishes in that. So he's no stranger to top 10 finishes in his career. And then this season, or last season in 2022 was the last season he drove in the supercars. He only had a handful of finishes that were outside of the top 10. And in fact, 3 of his last 4 were top 10 finishes in that supercar. So, something tells me that he's got the moxie to do it, but does he have the skill? I don't know. He's in the 33 car, gives you a little pause, but at plus 650, I'll take a stab at that. He could surprise us.
He is the points leader too for the season and he's got 3 wins on the season for Will Brown. So, as far as the V8 supercars go, so he's obviously been one of the better ones over there. We saw that worked out with SVG. I hate to be this guy again, Rod, but on the regular road courses, we saw it with SVG even. He struggled in the Cup Series when he raced the Indy road course. I don't think it's going to be easy. I know someone had asked earlier about if, it was JB, if the extra practice will help him. I mean, it'll help. I was hoping we'd get one of these guys at longer odds for a top 10, then he could take a stab at it. But you got to think of like these guys from IMSA come over, these F1 guys come over, and it's this beating and banging they're not used to. Even SVG talked about that. Chicago was different. I think it's going to be a rough day for these 2 guys. I think they have an outside chance. I do like putting it this way, though. Joey Logano is a name that continued to pop up, and I kept shoving him down, Rod. I didn't find any ways to bet on him. But when it comes to Sonoma, Joey Logano seems to have things figured out, and I've tried to been hammering the point all night. If guys are good at Sonoma, they're good at Sonoma. So I think putting them together is a good way to about it, and a good number. Taking a gamble on a guy like Will Brown, tossing Logano in there who's got the track history here. So props to you. I think you did it the correct way.
Well, again, if each of the individual numbers are under plus 200, under 2-1 to get a top 10, put them together for a plus 650. That's about the best way to go about it, in my opinion. So, yep. All right, Cody, what do we got next?
Next up for me, Rod, I'm going to jump over to the top 10 market. Give me Alex Bowman plus 250. He's almost our auto bet for top 10s every week, right? Except for last week, Rod. I told you not to do it. Hopefully you didn't do it because it would not have paid. So this is a week to get back in on Alex Bowman, though. 2 top 10s in the last 5 races here. But in all 5 of those races, Rod, which are his 5 Hendrick Motorsports starts. Before that, he was racing the Dr. Pepper car and whatever else crap he was in. In his 5 HMS starts here, 16th or better in all 5. So you're telling me plus 250, he's 5 for 5 being inside the top 16, and 2 of those times he's made it inside of the top 10. I think he could do it again. Again, if you're shrinking it down to where he's always in the top 16, he's at plus 250. You only need him to get a couple other spots. Love that from Alex Bowman. He's got a top 10 at 4 of the last 6 road courses. He was 14th at Coda earlier this season, but 8th at the Roval last year, 5th at Indy as well near the end of the season. So Alex Bowman, a solid road course. Pretty much Alex Bowman like he is everywhere else outside of Gateway. Just solid, running in the top 10 at the end of the day. It's where you expect him. I think he can get there. Plus 250, I think, is a great number for Alex Bowman. Again, top 16 in all 5 HMS starts at Sonoma. He's hanging around. He's in or near the top 10. I'll take that for a guy at plus 250.
Yeah, well, again, that was one that you kind of stole from me because I was going to put it in. I started to type it, and then I looked down at the square, and I was like, oh, man, he's already got it. So can't do it from that one. But, hey, you really want to get cheeky? Brian Twiney saying, Will Brown plus 170 over Joey Logano. That might be a fun one to toss in there.
That's a fairly large number. I mean, I know Logano's been good here, but.
I mean, look, it's then he doesn't even have to finish in the top 10, right? His top 10 number is really close to that, too. So, all Logano has to do is have a bad day, and Brown can finish in the top 25 and cash this one. So how fun is that? That would be a lot of fun.
I like it.
I like it. Okay. This is my song to AJ Allmendinger.
I have another trivia question for you on this one, Rod.
Okay. You want to ask it now, or do you want to wait till I'm completely done embarrassing myself in front of
I'll let you give the bet first because I don't want to give up the bet, and the bet's part of the question.
Okay, here we go. AJ, I love you. I want you to do good. AJ Allmendinger, top 5, plus 220. It's a gigantic swing. It's a
question for you, Rod.
Yes, Cody. I have
12. AJ Allmendinger has 12 starts at Sonoma. How many top 5s does he have?
12 starts at Sonoma. How many top 5s does he have? The answer to that question I already know, unfortunately. It is 0. However, he has a 6th place finish. He has a 7th place finish. He has a 9th place finish. All those lend themselves too close to it. But listen, what I'm leaning on as well is his last 4 of his last 5 road course races. Okay. In general, he had a 6th place at Coda. And look, I know we preface this by saying, if you're good at Sonoma, you're good at Sonoma. And sometimes that doesn't translate. But for AJ Allmendinger, we know I don't have to sit here and tell you, unless this is your first time listening to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, how good he is on road course races. That was really his bread and butter. We thought of him as a road course ringer in Xfinity. He was always good on road courses in the Cup Series. He just fell on some bad times a couple times. He had a 26th place at the Indy Road Course last year, 34th at Coda last year as well. But outside of that, 6th at Coda this year. He won the Charlotte Roval last year. He was 4th at Watkins Glen, 6th last year at Sonoma, 4th at the Roval, 2nd at the Glen, 7th at the Road Course, 9th at Road America. Are all of those top 5 finishes? No. Could they have been? Possibly. You said it too. The power steering, the cool suit. Like, anvils fall on AJ Allmendinger as much as they do Ty Majeski and Justin Allgaier. I understand that. But it's
if you could please refrain from mentioning that name ever again.
I'm sorry. I forgot. My bad. They fall all over this as well. Okay.
Thank you.
So here's the thing. For me, it's AJ Allmendinger trying to figure something out. Last week in Portland in the Xfinity Series, he had to start in the back, and he made his way up to 4th place in that. I know it doesn't translate directly to NASCAR, but the confidence that you have behind the wheel of a car to feel like you're back again, I hope he has it. It's not you're not going to buy it, and that's fine. You're not my target audience. You're not my target market. I'm not trying to sell to you, Cody. This is not a sell you.
That's a good thing, because I'm not buying.
No, and that's fine. That's fine. If this is an Amazon package that comes onto your porch and you don't want it, just send it back. But Brian's with me. Brian loves it. He's got his top Chevy market too. So Brian, you and I, we'll ride AJ until the.
You guys can lose that AJ bet together. Rod, next up for me. I don't know. I'm not 0 for 12. Like, this is not AJ's place. 6th place last season. I get it, right? He's close, but I don't know. And then the cool suit, this power steering, like, that's a Kaulig thing. And then I would be a little concerned by everything Kaulig for any period of time. But Rod, I'm going to stay in the top 10 market. I go Justin Haley, top 10 plus 450. This is actually a small number for Justin Haley compared to what we're used to seeing for him. But the top 10 market, this is weird this week, right? There's a lot of guys minus money at the top of the board. And then there's a lot of guys you don't want to touch at the bottom of the board that don't have much of a chance. But Justin Haley got that as a chance. I think plus 450 is a good number on him. Look, he's been just showing pace lately and speed, which is for a Rick Ware car is absolutely amazing. And he's been doing a great job with it. Drove to a top 10 pretty just normally, right? Last week at Gateway, didn't take much strategy or anything like that to get there. He kind of just worked his way up there and did it, which I think is impressive. Obviously, that doesn't directly translate here, but he's been showing the pace, right? We saw it at the All-Star race. We've seen it a lot of places, and they're figuring some stuff out over there. Haley's a great race car driver as well, as we've seen. If you go back, Rod, 21st place finish last season, so not bad. But he was 12th place here in 2022. He was in colleague equipment, but I'm getting pretty close to the point of arguing that this Rick Ware equipment's better than the colleague equipment of the last couple of seasons, or at least the same. So I like that for Justin Haley. So 12th place in 2022, again, for the track history part of things. He's gotten at least close to the top 10 before. And then if you go back through the road courses as well, Rod, he had a 5th place at the Roval last season, and he has 7. So in the last 14 road courses, 7 times he's been in the top 20. I know that's a little bit of a weird cherry pick stat, but half of the time he's at least in the top 20. Again, if he can get in the top 20, I think there's a chance he can move forward, and he's been continuing to get better and show more speed and everything. I think you could translate that into a top 10. I think at plus 450, that number is worth it. So give me Justin Haley, top 10 plus 450.
That was another one that I had looked up, and I was like, this is very interesting. And then sure enough.
That's why you settled with AJ Allmendinger top 5. I get it.
I mean, I kind of had nothing
You
left.
had nothing else to play, and so you just threw in a loser. It's okay.
No, but you're right, though. The top 10 market to me, it had me scratching my head because I didn't, it's not chalky top 10, but it's also not one that I wanted to take a whole lot of swings on, other than maybe this Will Brown and Logano one, because to me, it's like I wanted Logano as a top 10, but I saw his number and I got disappointed. I thought, well, what about Brown as a top 10? And then I saw his number and I got disappointed, but I saw them together and I was like, I'll take that. Charles, we see your comment. I don't want to put it on blast. So let's just say that I don't know if anybody else out there is it, but we don't want you to lose that. We don't want you to lose that. So Charles,
a good reason to make sure you're watching over on the YouTube. You can see Charles' comment and maybe take advantage of that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like we'll keep that there. All right. For my next bet, again, I don't know if this is super chalk, but I'll take it. And I'm going to take Kyle Larson. I'm not going to really say, well, you're going to say something later, but I'm going to take him as a top 3 car. Plus 250 for his top 3. I feel like that's a generous number to get on Kyle Larson. I mean, what more can you say about him other than he hasn't started outside of the top 5 on this track except once in his entire career. In 9 starts, he's got 5 poles in a row, right? From 2017 to 2022. Pole. Now, not all of those have transitioned into wins. Only one of those, in fact, has turned into a win, and only one of those has turned into a top 3 finish. Only one has turned into a top 5 finish. It's a little bit frustrating for Kyle Larson, but he has led on this, right? 57 laps that year that he won, 26th the year that he lost, or he came in 15th. And here's the thing. That was the one where him and Elliott had those problems. He very easily should have won that race. That should have been a back-to-back win for Kyle Larson, but those pit problems pretty much ruined it for him. So, for me, like I said, this is Kyle Larson. Now he's got that waiver. Now he doesn't have to worry too much about things. He can go out and run this race the way he wants to run this race. And Cody said, road courses for him have been a little up and down lately, but I have faith that Kyle Larson's always one of the fastest cars on the track. I have faith that Kyle Larson is always somebody that can get this thing figured out. We talked about him being a great road course racer once upon a time, right? I mean, the last couple of seasons have been kind of rough for him, but before that, he was killing it. Winning at Watkins Glen, 3rd at Road America, the 1st at the Roval, 3rd at Indy Road Course, 1st at Watkins Glen, 1st at Sonoma. Like, not too long ago, he was killing it. So if he can get back to that, if he can figure out how to navigate these road courses again, especially Sonoma, home state, right? Dude is like only an hour away from his hometown of Elk Grove. So love that for him too. That's a lot of home cooking for Kyle Larson. He's going to feel comfortable. I think he's going to be okay and in a good mood again. So give me Kyle Larson as a top 3 car at plus 250. That's on Superbook, by the way.
Yeah, no argument from me here, Rod. I've got more to the Larson point in a little bit, so I'll save it for that. Took a page out of your book, Rod. I did beat you to the dock this week. I filled out most of the card. I left a couple boxes open because I was kind of waiting to see what some other stuff did. I saw this one, and I was like, oh, Rod for sure has this one. I looked. Rod did not have this one. I was very surprised by this, so I decided to jump on and snatch it. Winning card number under 19.5 minus 125 over on Caesars, Rod. Actually, this might have been on Bet365 now that I think about it. Either way, I feel like they're being pretty generous here, Rod. So 19, a great cutoff point, by the way, because underneath of 19.5, Martin Truex Jr. He fucking wins a lot here. I'm just going to say that. You also get Chris Buescher, second and fourth the last 2 seasons. Like that quite a bit, right? AJ Allmendinger. I don't think it's going to be his time, Rod, but you made a case for him. Kaz Grall, Chase Briscoe, okay, Ryan Blaney's won road courses before. Denny Hamlin, he'll probably qualify on the pole, right? He's fucking fast at that all the time. Noah Gragson, Chase Elliott, we just talked about him, how good he's been here, how consistent he's in the top 5. Kyle Busch has won before on road courses. Corey LaJoie, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson. You get Kyle Larson in this, Rod. Just got done talking about him. I'm going to talk about him again more in a minute. Josh Berry, Austin Dillon. Austin Cindric, I don't think is a bad guy to have on here. Ross Chastain, Rod, could be a little bit of a sleeper. His teammate won this race 2 seasons ago. Love this big selection you're getting underneath the 19.5. Obviously, over this number, you're missing out on guys like William Byron, guys like Tyler Reddick, guys like Ty Gibbs. Daniel Suarez won this race 2 years ago. He doesn't concern me. But outside of that, who else am I really worried about winning this? Christopher Bell, maybe, but I'm not super worried about him. We talked about fading him. Like, you're getting a lot more guys underneath of this number that can win this bet. 19.5, I think, again, too, because you like, if they would have put this at 18.5 and had Truex on the other side, would have made me double think on it so much more. But just the fact that you're getting Truex, Larson, Elliott, those guys all underneath of this number, absolutely love it. So winning car number under 19.5 minus 125, that is over on Bet365.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have it, because I didn't look at Bet365. I was looking at Caesars.
Grumpy KFB as well. I think I stumbled over his name. But
yeah, Filthy Rat, minus 125, insane value. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Like, you're getting so many more guys. I get that Gibbs is over this, and I hate that part of it. And Reddick's been good on road courses, Rod, but not been very good at Sonoma. And William Byron, of course, we know he's been tearing it up lately, and his teammates have been good here. But really, like, those are kind of the only 3 guys I'm super worried about over this number. So I think that, and I'm giving out 3 outrights. They're all underneath of this number. You're giving out an outright also underneath this number. So we're kind of really all in on this. It just makes too much sense.
Well, and not to mention Denny Hamlin, who led 33 laps here last season. So it's, can he win?
I don't know that Denny Hamlin thinks he can win either, Rod. But
you talk about pianos falling.
You never know. I mean, he's really fucking good at qualifying. So he's obviously picking some stuff up, and hey, can't put it past him.
I keep forgetting to check Hard Rock. Kyle Busch, top 3 plus 900. Listen, I mean, that's not necessarily all that out of the realm of possibility. He's a top 5 finisher at this racetrack the last couple of times. I do remember talking to him at the start finish line after the race, after finishing, I believe it was 3rd. I wouldn't go back. I don't have Kyle Busch's stats pulled up, but yeah, definitely for sure. That's worth a look. All right. My next bet, I'm going to take under 6.5 drivers to lead a lap. This is at minus 115. My argument really begins and ends with the fact that if we got stage cautions, that's not, I mean, we may get,
but you're going to have people flipping.
Sure, but then it's usually the same people that sort of shuffle the lead back and forth. So it's not necessarily like you get the random person that does it. You look back to last season on this track, because we did have the breaks last season, right? Or did they do it?
I feel like still had them at Sonoma. I'd have to go back and look, because we started the season with them. So I think we did at Sonoma. Then we got rid of them for wasn't it like Indy and in the playoffs to the Roval, and then they decided that was a bad idea. They went back and forth on it last season. And it was like, couldn't make up their mind, and then they decided this way was better.
Well, regardless, the last two
Brian is saying no cautions last year. So
yeah, so there was only 2 cautions for 6 laps in the entire race. So regardless, the last 2 seasons in a row where we've had that, there was only 6 drivers to lead a lap. And honestly, guys like Michael McDowell led a lap, Ross Chastain led a lap, but it was Martin Truex that led 51, Denny Hamlin that led 33, Kyle Busch that led 17 in that one. In 2022, it was Daniel Suarez that led 47. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, 26 apiece. Then it was Buescher, Logano with 4 apiece, and Keselowski with 3. So again, if we're playing out the strategy the way it is, it usually just kind of hands itself back and forth between those 6 drivers, and that's about all you get. So I think that's the same strategy that'll play out this time around. I think we're going to get under 6.5 drivers to lead a lap. Not that many laps to lead. That's the other thing, right? We talked about how many laps there are, 110 laps. I mean, it's going to go by.
Yeah, it goes by fairly quick. And I will say that about this track, like in general, we don't get a lot of cautions. So that's going to, cause less chaos where you have a bunch of lead changes. It generally gets fairly strung out. It's not an easy track to pass on. Now you're adding a repave in there, which repaves on ovals in general don't make the passing better. How's it going to race to the road course? I will see, but I don't think the passing is going to be any better for that as long as the track stays together, because they had some issues right after the repave of the track coming up, but it appears they've fixed all of that. So I do like this because I think it's going to be kind of a get settled in, and guys are going to lead big chunks of the race, and you're going to see the lead flip on when we're flipping stages and stuff, but then it's going to go right back to whoever had it anyways. So I like the call on this one, Rob.
Yeah, because when they come into pit, the person that they leave the lead to tends to lead the laps until the 4 or 5 laps until the end of the stage. And then it goes, like you said, goes right back to the person that had the lead before. So not worried about that. All right, Cody, who's going to win this race?
Yes, time to get to winners. By the way, King saying Kyle Busch is ass right now. I wouldn't bet a stick of gum on him. I can't say I disagree with you, King, because he's been pretty bad lately. But a Kyle that I would like to bet on, Rod, Kyle Larson. Look, plus 750 for Kyle Larson. Made the case for him earlier over Christopher Bell. You made the case for him top 3. Plus 750. Kyle Larson is much like Ferrari over in F1, where he can fuck it up real fast, Rod. We know this. We understand this. But that's why we don't bet him a lot when he's plus 300 or plus 450. Now you're getting him at plus 750 when he's been really good here in the past, when he's a good road course racer. Now he's settled back, things are settling back in. He's going home, right? California kid. He's got the waiver now. All is good. Going to be racing for the win. 8th place last season. Again, an okay run for him. The 15th the year before, but he was the best car, hands down, blowing everyone away. By the way, Brian saying 9-1 over at Superbook. Thank you, Brian. I will officially edit that bet to Kyle. Rod, let's start over. I'm taking Kyle Larson plus 900 to win. Shout out to Brian, my guy there. And then he won this race by leading 57 laps back in 2021 as well. So really, had it not been for the pit penalty and then the tire coming off in 2022, he probably would have won this in 21 and 22. Kyle Larson's very good here. Been solid on road courses just in general. At 9-1, holy shit, Rod. That is a great number on Kyle Larson. You don't see Larson at this big of a number very often. You got to take advantage of it when you do. If he ends up fucking it up and wrecking out, well, it's Kyle Larson. That's a risk you're taking. But a 9-1 for the best driver in the world, Rod, I'm going to stick to that argument, despite some of the hate I received on the internet for that take over on the big show. But no, 9-1 for Kyle Larson. And then over on Caesars, actually, you can boost this. Larson plus Verstappen, 13-1. Verstappen maybe not as much of the automatic bingo card he was previously, but yeah, he still is, right? There's a good chance Max Verstappen's going to win this race. We have not got to the F1 Gambling Podcast yet this season or this week, but he's only minus 200. Those odds have come down a lot, but still he's minus 200. If you toss him in there, you get extra 400 points on this. So I do like taking Verstappen plus Larson together. And then Rod, Chris Buescher, 14-1. Talked about him earlier. 2nd and 4th the last 2 times out here. I think you're getting good value on him. Ford seems to have found something lately. He's been really good at this track. he's good at road courses in general. I should have looked up. He's got an amazing top 10 run in road courses. I don't have it in front of me, but it's like almost every single road course over the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's been inside the top 10. He's always in the mix. 25-1. I like it. And then, Rod, a guy we've not really talked about yet this evening, Ross Chastain, 25-1. This sort of feels to me a lot like when we hit him 40-1 at Coda a couple of seasons ago. He's kind of fallen off the radar a little bit, slipping back. But this is where he could pop up and do well. We saw his teammate win in Daniel Suarez a couple of seasons ago. He has the 5th best average finish over the last 3 races here at 8.0. He's been very good at this track, Rod. 10th, 7th, and 7th in those 3 races. So in the mix at least and hanging around there. We know he's a really good road course racer. I think he can get it done. I think you're getting good value for Chastain at 25-1. So Larson 9-1. Larson plus Verstappen 13-1 over on Caesars. Buescher at 14-1. Chastain 25-1.
To your point, and JDK will back you up, Buescher very consistent. 10 of 11 on road courses.
That's JDK taking a dig on me for saying Chase Elliott's consistent, even though he is consistent. But yes, what was the stat you were sharing, Rod?
10 of 11 road course races he's been inside the
pretty
top 10.
Fucking good. And that includes the day where his car burned to the ground on pit road, still recovered and got a top 10 somehow, miraculously.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to Sonoma of 2022. So the only time he didn't was Indy Road Course. But guess what? He finished 11th. So
that might have actually been the race where he caught on fire. So there you go.
And it got for an 11th place. So, all right. Well, then I am going to go ahead and just give you Martin Truex Jr.
Oh, yeah. But by the way, Charles, real quick. Ross was one of the guys who did the tire test here as well. So we saw how good that worked out for Joey Logano, obviously. So he got the tire test at the repave here, 25-1. His top 10 number, which I think JDK mentioned earlier, plus 140. I definitely gave that a hard look as well. I do really like that. 3 for 3 in the last 3 here. So didn't make the card officially, but I would say probably play that too.
I'm with you on that one. But for me, like I said, it's Martin Truex Jr. I don't want to get too cute here because if you look at Martin Truex Jr.'s finishes since 2018, first, third, 26th, and first last year, led 62 laps in 2018, 59 in 2019, 51 last year, en route to that win. It's Martin Truex's world. And you can still get him at 6-1. This is not a plus 350. This is not a plus 400. This is a 6-1 over on Superbook that you can get Martin Truex Jr. to win this race. That is insane value for a guy that has as many first place finishes here over the last 4 seasons than most people have in their career. So, like I said, I'm not going to get cute. I think this is it won't be easy for Truex. I'll tell you that much right now. It's not going to be easy because I think that his season has not necessarily been all that easy so far. But I do think this is one of those tracks that he 100% loves. It's an area that he 100% loves, and I'm just gonna roll with that. I mean, road courses in general for him haven't been all that easy. A 10th place at Coda, 20th at the Roval, 6th at Watkins Glen, 7th at the Indy Road Course. Like I said, he did win Sonoma last year, but 17th at Coda, 17th at the Roval, 23rd at Watkins Glen, 21st at the Indy Road Course, 13th at Road America. I mean, he was a much better road racer early in his career. He's sort of fallen off in that, but I think last year's win at Sonoma, and to Cody's point earlier, if you're good at Sonoma, you're good at Sonoma. You know how to get around Sonoma. So, like I said, it's 6-1 for him to win this race again. I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility, and I like that number.
Yeah, the number is the thing that scared me off because, well, it's so crazy when you get him at 35-1 last year, Rod, that 6-1 doesn't seem great, but he's so fucking good here. Charles also pointing out that he was one of the other guys that did the tire test here. So not only has he been fucking great here over his career, especially recently, also has the tire test behind him too. So, man, I was really hoping they were going to be sleeping a little bit on him this week, Rod. At least kind of tuck him down in there in the odds. 8th or 10th guy on the list. I was going to nail him, car lift him all the way up. Nah, he's the favorite and everything. Minus 7,000 to get a top 10. I was like, damn it. But yeah, I'm not going to argue with you because he fucking owns this place and he's really good.
Yeah, if Kyle Larson on the pole owns the pole, but Martin Truex Jr. has owned the victory. He's been sipping from that chalice more than anybody else has.
I was hoping we would get some pole odds. Unfortunately, we don't have them at the time of recording this. But I will say the two guys to watch: Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin. If those guys are over 4-1, I would take both of them for sure. So stay tuned in the Discord for that as well. But keep an eye out for when those come out. And then also, FanDuel top 10s aren't out this week, but keep an eye out for those because the last couple of weeks we've been getting really good numbers on those. So maybe these numbers we gave out tonight, you can get a little boosted over on FanDuel as well.
That'd be fantastic. All right, time to get out your pen and paper. It's time to go over our bets for this Toyota Save Mart 350. And for those of you on YouTube, I had time to make a graphic today, so I'm very excited about that. Cody started you out with Larson over Bell and Buescher over AJ Allmendinger. Larson over Bell at plus 105. Allmendinger side of it minus 110. I gave you Gibbs over Bell at minus 110. And then Cody gave you Chase Elliott as a top 5 car at plus 155. Actually, this graphic was made before Cody updated it. So Elliott top 5 car at plus 155. I gave you both Logano and Brown to finish inside. That's Will Brown, if you don't know, to finish inside the top 10 at plus 650. Cody gave you Alex Bowman as a top 10 car at plus 250. I said that AJ Allmendinger would be a top 5 car at plus 220. Cody said that Justin Haley would be a top 10 car at plus 450. I said Kyle Larson would be a top 3 car at plus 250. Cody said that the winning car number would come from underneath 19.5. I fully endorse this at minus 125. And then I said that under 6.5 drivers would lead a lap in this race at minus 115. Cody then gave you Larson at 9-1. He gave you the Larson and Verstappen boost on Caesars at 13-1, which again was after the card was made. Buescher at 14-1, Chastain at 25-1 to win this race. And I said good old Martin Truex Jr. would repeat as winner of the Toyota Save Mart 350 from the Sonoma Raceway in beautiful Sonoma, California. Lots of stuff going on in the chat as we were going there. So love this. Larson is at plus 135 over Truex, Cody.
I see. I'm not that as confident as I am in Larson. Have a good day. I'm not fading Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, no, I don't have the balls to pull the trigger on that one.
It's a tough
game. Truex is fucking good here, so I'm not going to bet against him.
Again, it's tough because he's been so good, and you know that the one time you take that is the one time it's not going to hit. So, all right, Cody. Well, hey, listen, guys, thanks for hanging through this ridiculous. I'm hoping tomorrow, because I've had this going on for the last week or so. It feels like it's getting better. We'll see. So, thanks for sticking with me through this voice stuff. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. We got Australian listeners checking in. Nico, I hope we get some decent markets in Australia this week. We'd love to see what the V8 supercar guys get for top 10 15s. Hey, thanks for checking us out. We appreciate it. You can listen anywhere in the world on YouTube, of course, and on all the podcast platforms. So that's great. You guys get top 15 odds over there?
Lucky.
Oh, buddy. I'm about to go. Yeah. You got
Screw
room
that.
in your basement, or I don't know if you have basements in Australia, but you got room in your house for me to take another room because we get top 15 markets. Let's go.
I've always talked about moving to Australia, so maybe this is the time. Nico, clear some space on your couch. We're going to crash for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But thanks. Yeah. Thanks to, like you were saying, Rod, thanks everybody for hanging out. A little bit of a late one. It's been a day. I'm just going to go with that. So, yeah, been a day, but here we are. We appreciate it. Back tomorrow with Xfinity Series picks. And, of course, we'll have some DFS underdog stuff to wrap up the week. So make sure you join us. Smash that subscribe button, Rod. You can also follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. AFL content starting to crank back out, so I'll have a lot more of that, which is great. I'm going to have my weekly Premier Lacrosse League picks out. It was a rough week 1, but we're back to get them this week for week 2. NFL stuff coming out, NASCAR stuff coming out, F1 articles coming out. It's going to be a lot of stuff, so make sure you follow me over on the X. And, yeah, that was a lot of stuff, Rod, so your turn.
Yeah, well, same for me. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it's in between media. Make sure to go check out Seth and Elliott as they break down Sonoma for you this week as well. And yeah, make sure to check out the Arena Football League YouTube channel. Back with our shows on a weekly basis. Got some great interviews coming up this week. Had a great recap show last night, so go check that out if you are into arena football, or if you're not, go check it out. I don't care. You'll love it anyways. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully my voice will see you tomorrow as well, and we'll break down some Xfinity for you. What shall we? Till then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.